Ever wish you could, like, clone yourself
Yeah.
to get more done? Well, in the world of podcasting, AI is making that kind of possible. And that's what we're diving into today. AI, and how it's changing the game in podcasting. We've got some seriously cool source material outlining how to create a fully AI-generated podcast.
It really is like having a whole team of digital assistants working on your podcast 24/7.
We're not kidding. We're talking AI that can write scripts, simulate conversations between hosts, even animate characters for a video podcast.
There are a couple of different approaches, actually. Some super easy, and others that take a bit more effort but produce some really amazing results.
Okay, so let's unpack all of that. But first, whether you're using traditional methods or AI tools, a podcast always starts with picking a niche, right?
Absolutely. In fact, one of our sources even suggests using ChatGPT to brainstorm niche ideas
Right.
and even generate video topics.
Which makes a lot of sense, especially for new podcasters trying to build an audience.
Totally.
So you get your niche, then what? How does AI handle actually making the podcast content?
Well, there's this tool from Google called NotebookLM, and it is a potential game changer. It's way more than just a script generator. Imagine feeding it articles, YouTube videos, your own Google Docs. And it takes all of that and turns it into a podcast script.
It's like having a crazy fast researcher who can also write like a pro podcaster.
Really?
That's wild.
And the results are really impressive. Our source highlights an example where NotebookLM wrote a dialogue between a male and female host discussing AI art. The flow was so natural you'd never know it was AI.
Wow. Okay, so now we've got our AI-generated script. How do we turn that audio into a video podcast? You know, something for YouTube. Our source talks about two approaches.
Yeah, so there's one that's all about speed and simplicity, perfect if you want something quick and easy. So picture this. You use Leonardo AI, that's a tool for making AR images, to create a virtual studio setting with your AI podcast hosts.
Got it. So visually, we've got our hosts in their cool digital studio.
Exactly.
What's next?
Then you jazz it up with some animated sound waves, which you can easily make in Canva. And finally, you use an editing tool like CapCut. You combine your audio, that studio image, and the sound waves, maybe add a vignette.
So even someone who's not a pro at editing could make a really nice-looking video podcast.
For sure. It's a great starting point, but our source also talks about a more advanced approach for people who want more control and a really unique look.
This is where it gets interesting. What's involved in this advanced method?
Well, instead of a static image, you create separate video clips of AI characters, each one synced to a piece of your audio.
Whoa, wait, so it looks like the AI characters are actually talking.
Yeah.
How does that even work?
So first, you split your AI-generated audio into separate tracks for your male and female host. Then there's this platform called Hedra AI. You give Hedra AI those audio segments, each one less than 30 seconds, and it makes video clips of AI characters lip-synced to the audio.
That's insane. It's like directing a movie, but with AI actors.
Kinda, yeah. It takes a bit more time and effort than that first method, but the results are crazy realistic.
So how does it all come together in the end?
You use CapCut again for the final edit. You put those male and female character clips side by side, fill in any gaps, add any final effects you want.
This is incredible. It's amazing how accessible all these tools are becoming. But it also makes you think about the future of podcasting. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, that's a big question. This tech is changing so fast, and it's bringing up a lot of important questions about creativity, accessibility, and what it even means to have a voice in the digital world.
These are some heavy questions, for sure. I think it's time we took a deeper look at what these advancements mean for the world of podcasting and the future of audio storytelling as a whole.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating time to be watching all of this unfold. On the one hand, it feels like we're on the verge of this creative boom, where anyone with an idea and a computer can make high-quality audio and video content.
Yeah, it's like the early days of desktop publishing or independent film, knocking down barriers and empowering a whole new generation of creators.
Exactly. But like with any new tech that shakes things up, there are definitely concerns and important questions.
For sure. Like, what does all this mean for the traditional role of a podcaster?
That's a big one. One of our sources actually dives into the idea that these tools might shift the focus from technical stuff to the core of podcasting, storytelling, narratives, and connecting with your audience.
So instead of replacing podcasters, AI could free them up to spend more time on the creative side.
Right. Like having a team of virtual assistants to handle the technical work so podcasters can focus on what they do best, connecting with their listeners.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. AI as a collaborator instead of a replacement.
Yeah. And then there's the question of accessibility. Imagine a world where language isn't a barrier to podcasting anymore, thanks to AI translation and voice cloning.
Wow. Think of all the different voices and perspectives that could be shared. It could really democratize podcasting in a way we've never seen.
Absolutely.
But we also have to acknowledge the potential downsides. Like, what about misinformation? Or AI-generated content being used for harmful purposes?
You're right, that's a valid concern. One of our sources talks about the ethical implications of using AI to manipulate information, especially when it comes to news or educational podcasts. It really emphasizes the importance of critical thinking and media literacy these days, because it's getting harder and harder to tell the difference between human-created and AI-generated content.
It's like we need a whole new set of listening skills,
Eh,
way to figure out what's real and evaluate the information we're taking in.
Definitely. We can't just assume that everything we hear, especially online, is true or unbiased.
And it makes you wonder about trust in podcasting. If listeners can't tell if a podcast is made by a human or AI, could that erode the authenticity that makes podcasting so special?
It could. Transparency is going to be really important. Clearly labeling AI content will be key to maintaining trust, so listeners can make informed choices about what they listen to.
So we're navigating all these ethical questions. But we also need to be aware of potential bias in AI content, right?
Absolutely. AI is trained on huge amounts of data, and if that data contains biases, those biases can show up in the content the AI generates. It's why ongoing research is so important, to try to reduce bias and make sure AI algorithms are fair.
Sounds like a tricky balancing act. Harnessing the amazing potential of AI, while also being aware of its limitations and potential problems.
It is, but I think the fact that we're having this conversation is a good sign. It means we're thinking about these issues and how to use this technology responsibly.
It does feel like we're entering a whole new era of audio storytelling, where the lines between human and machine are getting blurrier.
Which raises a fundamental question. What does it even mean to be a creator in a world where AI can seemingly do everything?
Maybe it's time to shift our focus away from the technical side of podcasting and back to the human elements that make it so powerful. The power of voice, the intimacy of storytelling, and the ability to connect with others.
You're right. AI can imitate human speech and make interesting content, but it's the human part, the passion and the unique perspectives that will always make great podcasting stand out.
It really does feel like they're at a crossroads. AI is giving us these amazing tools, but it's also making us rethink what it means to create and connect using audio.
It's a huge shift. I mean, we've gone from wondering if AI could ever be truly creative to seeing it actually happen.
Exactly. And that brings up some really big questions, like if AI can write scripts and simulate voices and even create visuals, what's left for the human podcaster to do?
Well, maybe the answer is to think about it as a partnership. You know, we could see AI as a powerful tool instead of a threat.
Right, like using AI to help us tell better stories, reach more people, experiment with new formats and ideas.
Yeah, exactly like having a co-pilot for the creative process, someone to help us push the boundaries of what's possible with audio.
And that idea of exploring, pushing creative limits, that's something AI can actually help with. Think about all the time and energy we could save if AI could handle things like transcription editing, even writing first drafts of scripts.
Yeah, it would free up podcasters to focus on the things that really need a human touch, like developing compelling stories, conducting interviews, and building relationships with listeners.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? The
Yeah.
human element,
Yeah.
being able to share experiences and emotions and perspectives in a way that connects with people.
Absolutely.
And that's something AI, at least for now, can't fully replicate. It can sound like a human, but it can't capture those little things, like the nuances of emotion, shared laughter, moments of vulnerability, that genuine connection that makes podcasting so special.
Those are the things that make a story come alive, and that's what will always make human-created content stand out.
So as we think about the future of podcasting, I think the main takeaway is this. We should definitely explore what AI can do, but we should never forget about the human element at the heart of every great podcast.
I love that technology can help us share our voices, but it's the human spirit, the passion, the creativity, and the need to connect with others that will always be the driving force behind truly meaningful audio.
And on that note, we've come to the end of our deep dive into the world of AI podcasting. We hope this exploration has given you a glimpse into the amazing possibilities and the important questions that are out there.
It's been a fascinating conversation, and we encourage you to keep learning about this constantly changing field. Who knows, maybe you'll be the one to come up with the next big thing in AI-powered audio storytelling.
So keep those creative juices flowing, and remember the future of podcasting is in your hands.